everyone, and welcome back to Office Space. My name is Raf. This video, which you are currently watching, marks my first year as Microblift's influencer in Canada. I'll be giving a one-year assessment of all the goods I've used up to this point and how they've influenced my experience as an aquascaper and fish keeper in this video. I want you, my supporters, to become more familiar with their offerings. So without further ado, let's examine Microblift's collection of aquarium additives in more detail. So the first item on the list is the Microblift Special Blend and Therapy Bacteria Bottles. Out of the full range of aquarium additives I got from them, these two are my favorites and are utilized the most. To put it simply, they are bacteria in a bottle. I use them whenever I notice an unpleasant smell emanating from my tank, or when I overfeed, when I perform a significant water change, and particularly when I begin a new tank and aquascape. The hydrogen sulfide in the liquid is what gives it that really trademark horrible smell. It comes at you like a sucker punch to the face, yet it goes away pretty quickly. Since I began utilizing these items, I have seen a significant decrease in fish losses, fish disease occurrences, the buildup of visible fish waste at the bottom, and most notably, algae blooms and hazy bacterial blooms. Since this is not a chemical, I feel entirely secure dipping my hands in the water after dosing it, as long as I don't have any open skin wounds or accidentally splash it in my eyes or mouth. The second item on the list is the Microblift Bloom and Grow collection. It consists of the all-in-one nitrogen supplement, iron supplement, phosphorus supplement, and potassium supplements. My tanks used to have a severe nutrient deficiency before I met Microblift. My tanks would frequently experience problems such as leaf holes, plant melting, yellowing, stunted development, and discolored leaves. In my memory, the plants were only barely maintained alive by a combination of frequent root tab insertions and liquid fertilizer dosing from a top brand available from most fish stores. Later on, I used powdered fertilizer for terrestrial plants out of desperation. I would use a powder as my liquid fertilizer by dissolving it in a 1 liter squirt bottle of tap water. The testing phase was prolonged, demanding, and hazardous for my tank because poisoning the fish with excessive amount of the DIY liquid was very likely. Fortunately, the remedy did work, but because of the element concentrations being out of whack and the fact that I didn't have a lot of plants back then, I would also experience problems such as blackbeard algae blooms. However, since I began utilizing the aforementioned line of additives from Microblift, I've had wonderful success in maintaining water conditions that not only allow my plants to live, but also allow them to thrive. As a result of the element concentrations being carefully formulated by a group of subject matter specialists instead of just me making something out of my apartment out of desperation, algae blooms brought on by excessive amounts of waterborne nutrients are maintained to a minimum. Each dose is precisely adjusted to the volume of water, although it is safe to make adjustments to the dosage depending on how lush your setup is. More importantly, because I am aware that the concentration of components in the water is below levels that are harmful to both humans and fish, I no longer feel apprehensive about getting my hands into the water. The third item on the list is the Microblift Water Clarifier. I've used this kind of additive a lot in the past from different companies to make the water in my tank clear after starting a fresh setup or when a lot of substrate particulates are stirred up and start to cloud the water. After using both major brand clarifiers and Microblift water clarifiers, I can clearly tell them apart from one another. The fish would begin to breathe more quickly within the first few hours of therapy when I used the leading brand clarifiers in the past. This is typically when the water briefly becomes noticeably cloudier, when the particulates join together to make them easier to catch by mechanical filtration. The concentrations appear to be high enough that fish in the aquarium have considerably tougher times breathing. Now, the water clarifier by Microblift does not do this. Microblift's water clarifier recommended dosage is actually diluted and slower acting than that of the competing product. This implies that more liquid must be used to treat the same amount of water for a longer period of time so that fish stress is not increased in the process. The way I explain this to people who ask me about it is that the example that I use is of when you're cleaning your house. You can complete a thorough clean in a couple of hours, but you'll work much harder, you become more exhausted, and experience more stress than if you took twice as long to complete the same task. The last item I wanted to talk about is the Microblift Extreme Water Conditioner. This is an item that is considered a full function water conditioner. As the name suggests, it does this by detoxifying nitrites, removing chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine. It also replaces lost fish slime, vital electrolytes, and increases water alkalinity. I mainly use this as an instant detoxifier when I wake up and my tank smells kind of bad. Special Blend in Therapy does this as well, but that takes time to detoxify the water because they rely on bacteria reproducing and colonizing the tank, while Extreme chemically renders my water safe immediately. Now, just a note, a lot of you may think, Raf, you posted reels before saying that you don't use water conditioner when you're putting water into your tank. And that's true when it comes to water top offs. Water top offs, I don't use water conditioner. I just use regular tap water and put it in the tank because that's just a small percentage of the overall tank volume. So the chlorine in that 1 gallon addition is not going to poison my tank. As opposed to if, let's say, I'm starting a new setup where the entirety of the water is going to be from just regular tap water, that I do use water conditioner for, because after a few gallons being added into the tank, I do smell a pretty significant chlorine smell. So definitely, if it's all the entirety of the tank volume being added at the same time, freshly from the tap, I definitely use water conditioner. And in this situation, the Microblift Extreme Conditioner is very good at doing its job. In the end, there are a wide variety of aquarium additives available that support the health and wellness of the fauna and flora in your tank. I've used a lot of them, and what I've discovered is that Microblift aquarium supplements, while working toward the same objectives as the other top brands, appear to do so by putting the quality of life of the tank occupants above expedience in order to attain the same result. In order to reduce stress in the tank while the additives were active in the tank volume, Microblift wasn't scared to formulate products that take a longer time to get there. It is because of this focus that I plan on using these products for a very long time and wholeheartedly recommend them to people who ask me for advice. So there we go, guys. That is my 1 year review of the Microblift products that I received from them as their influencer. I hope you found this video informative. If you like it, please make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting this on my YouTube channel as well. There's not a lot of following on that, but I do use it for longer videos as well. Okay, as always, this is Raf, and this has been Office Space.